Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov, Bishut Rav Mansur Shlita. What I thought of doing is that there's a new Mesechet Avot, which is called the Metiv Ta'oz Ve'adar, which they came out with Aliba Di'ilchata Ve'pninei Halacha, which means it connects the Pirkei Avot, Mesechet Avot, with different halachot that we could learn. And therefore I thought that for the next few weeks, we would try to pay attention that we're also learning Pirkei Avot and also halacha at the exact same time. One of the beautiful halachot that I saw brought down here was a Mishnah He. Mishnah He says, Yosef ben Yochanan Yerushalayim Omed. Yosef ben Yochanan comes and he says, Yivetecha patuach lerevacha. Your house should always be open. V'yu aniyim b'nei vetecha. And there should be poor people from amongst your house. The Bartenura, Rav Vadim Bartenura comes and he explains, Shelo yikneh avadim leshamesho, mutav shu yisrael minechasav, velo zera kenan arur. He comes and he says it's better that if you're already going to come, and it's not only just to give, to eat and to drink, the aniyim of the Israel, but rather there's another din, that the people that should be actually even serving you should be aniyei Israel, and you should give them parnasah instead of aniyei akum. Which means that if you have a worker that could work for you, instead of getting a non-Jew in order to come and to work for you, you should get a Jew to come and work for you. So therefore, v'yu aniyim b'nei vetecha does not only just mean that you give him to eat and to drink. It means that he should actually be the ones that's working for you. And Rashi says the exact same in Bab Metzia. Which means that they should come and they should serve me instead of getting a non-Jewish slave. So now this does not only apply just to getting them to serve us as slaves or maidservants or cleaning ladies and all the others, but rather it's also to do with mekach memkar. It also has to do with buying and selling from a Jew. Why? In Parashat Behar it says, "V'chitimkiru mimkal amitecha okonomia lemitecha al tonu ish et amito." The Torah Kohanim, the Midrash says, "Minayin keshata mochel lo tiye mochel el amitecha." How do you know when you're going to sell, you should sell to a Jew? You're selling it to a person which is of the same religion as you. How do you know also when you're buying, you should also buy from the Jew? So says the Midrash, for 1 second, the Pasuk is only talking about property, real estate. We're talking about physical property. How do we know? Right? How do we know that even something which is movable objects, which is basically anything, any items that you're going to buy in a store? Rashi Parashat Behar also brings it down, the exact same Lashon. He says, that it has to be dafka from the Jew, and it's also the chinuch in mitzvah shin lamed zayin. So you have it that this is actually a mitzvah to buy and to sell to a Jew. Now there's a question is this halacha only going to be when it's exact same price, or is it going to be even if there's going to be a difference in price? Which means if I go to the Jew, it's more expensive, or if I have to sell to the Jew, I'm going to sell it cheaper. Can I come now and buy from the goy, which is selling it cheaper, or can I sell to the goy, which I could sell it for at a higher price? So here there's a Shuta Ramah. The Ramah for the Ashkenazim, Rabbi Moshe Isilis, he comes and he has a responsa. And there in Siman Yod, he's talking about the Maram Padva. He actually printed a Sefer Rambam. So imagine right now you have a set of Rambam that was printed by a big rabbi, by the Maram Padva. And there was a goy, a non-Jew, that he also printed the set of the Rambam. But it was cheaper by one zehuv, by one coin. Right? Again, I don't know how to translate that in nowadays of the zehuv echad. What is the exact that we're talking about? $1? We're talking about more. But basically we're talking about, I was selling it for 4, he was selling it for, let's say the goy was selling it for 3. Right? Basically he beat me by $1 or by one coin. So the Ramah comes and he says, right? Ayesod Gadol Shlishi, you know, Midrash, he brings down the Midrash that we quoted of the Torah Kohanim, and then he comes and he says, Aval keshakuti muziltfe shani likach b'minu kedei larviach b'mikro. So he comes and he says, because of this, Hagaon Allah zacha bedino. He comes and he says that even if the goy is going to sell it cheaper, there's still a mitzvah to buy it from a Jew. Just like if he was selling it, or he's going to, so therefore you would have to buy from the Maram Padva. So now the entire question is, what happens though if the price is a very big difference in price? So on this, the Chavetz Chaim in the Avat Chesed, he brings down this Ramah, and he says, obviously we're talking about a very small amount, right? But therefore he learned that it was only talking about a small amount. If it's going to be too big of a difference in the price gouging, then yes, you could actually come and buy from the goy. And that's also l'mashma l'maaseh in the shoot, Tshuvot v'Anagot. However, though, the shoot Minchat Yitzchak wanted to say that even if there was a bigger amount, you would still have to buy it from the Jew. Because he quotes the Ramah by saying, Kishagoy muzil tfeh, that he's coming and he's making it very cheap. And therefore, it's mashma, you could imply from the Ramah that even if it's going to be much cheaper, you would still be able to do it. However, though, alachal ma'aseh, they do bring down that if it's going to be, there's also the shut minchat Yitzchak, Avri Yitzchak Vayz, and others also as well, they say that as long as it's going to be less of a difference of a shtut, which is basically the shiur of ona'ah, which is 16.5%, you're still obligated to come and to buy from the Jew. Right? And therefore you shouldn't come and start buying it from the goy unless there's going to be a difference in price of 16.5%. Now, something very interesting also brought down in the Tshuvot Anagot is as follows. What happens if you know that this Jew is suffering in Parnassah? Yeah, he's suffering in Parnassah, and then he's coming and he's selling it a little bit more expensive. And then you come and you say to yourself, listen, I could buy it at a cheaper price. Can I come and actually use the difference in price as tzedakah or ma'aser? Why? Because the only reason why I'm buying it, I could get it for a cheaper price. The only reason is I'm trying to help him out. So says the Tshuvot v'Anagot, he comes and he says, if you have a Jew that's selling it a little bit more expensive because he doesn't have work, and the goy is selling it cheaper, so he says the difference could be considered tzedakah, ve'en lecha mitzvah tzedakah gedolah mizo. There's no greater tzedakah than this. Why? It's considered matam baseter. Because at the end of the day, I'm supporting the Jew without giving him tzedakah. The guy comes and he thinks people are buying from me. He doesn't realize that you're coming and you're supporting him as if it's Torah tzedakah, that you're doing him a favor. He thinks, I'm just selling, you're coming and you're buying. So therefore there shouldn't be a problem. So he comes and he says, you could actually deduct it from maaser the mitzvah gedolah kavid. But you're doing a great mitzvah, that you're actually reviving, right? You're standing up a Jew, and you're giving him the parnasah bechavod, and the tzedakah that you're giving is a madrika gedolah she'efshar lekach gam mikispei maaser. So he says, however, though, this only applies if the person is really be'emet suffering and he really needs it. You can't just say it to every single Jew, listen, I'm giving maaser, right? But not every single Jew is worthy of coming and getting maaser. The next halakha, which is very important, is that which we said that the entire halakha, you always are Magdima Yisrael, Zehu Davka B'Yisrael Shu Shomer Torah u'Mitzvot u'Mechabed et Yirei Hashem. He comes and he says it's going to be a religious Jew, a Jew which is Shomer Torah Mitzvot, and that he actually respects Hashem. Halav hachi, if not, af be'efresh mu'at en tzarich lakdimo. Even if the price difference is going to be a few pennies, you don't have to go to the Jew. You could go to the goy. There's no problem. Meaning this entire concept is amitecha. Remember, many times the Gemara brings down amitecha, mi she'oseh ma'aseh amecha, somebody that's doing the actions of your Torah, the actions of your nation. And therefore, if you have a person that's not religious and he's not doing it, you don't have this obligation. And then the Tshuvot v'Anagot finishes off, and this is where we're going to finish by saying, how much do I have to do tircha? How much do I have to toil in order to go to a place to support to the Jew? Let's say, for example, we have a shop right here, which is of goyim. And now to go buy from a Jew, I have to come, take my car, start traveling. How much do I have to go? So he comes and he says, maybe you have to actually come and you have to go like a shiur of a meal, right? Or kedei hiluch tfilah, kemo betfilah, or for legabei gizah, in order to buy from a shomer Shabbat dafka, right? And therefore, more than that is already going to be considered tircha merubah, which means that maybe it's going to be that I would have to actually travel for 18 minutes, that until 18 minutes I would have to actually travel in order to buy it from the Jew that is Shomer Torah Mitzvot, more than just getting it from the goy. But if it's going to be more than that, it's considered tircha merubah. But then he answers and he continues and he says, but that's only going to be if I'm going to go there on a fixed basis. If it's going to be as a one-off that I need something, you don't have to come and tell a person, listen, you need as a one-off, so go start traveling 18 minutes in order to go and start getting a certain product from something. You need milk. If it's right now something as a one-off, so then yes, we're not makpi, then usually we could go and buy it from anywhere. But if it's going to be that you're fixed, that you're going to buy in a certain store, there is a mitzvah to go probably even until 18 minutes of travel in order to support the Jew in his business instead of buying it from the non-Jew.